Today I thought it'd be fun to open up one of my old sessions and see what has changed over the years, what's changed in my setup, what's changed in my workflow, what's changed in my overall ability over the years. So let's see how bad this really is. So I have this session here, this is from 2018, so it's about 6 years ago at this point. Now I opened this up about 2 minutes ago, just long enough to route the audio for the video. You can see my mic is going here, but I haven't gone through this session yet. So first let's listen to a few seconds of this, see how it sounds, and then go through and see what we could have done better, what I've been doing differently. Alright, honestly, it doesn't sound as bad as I expected it to sound when I opened this up. But I'm already definitely hearing some things that I could have done differently and would have done differently if I had done this anytime recently. So let's go through it. First of all, I didn't just mix this, I did produce this track. This is actually one of my old bands, although I wasn't an active member of the band at this time. But I did record it for them, I did mix it for them, and already I'm hearing some things I would have done differently, partially in the mix, but also in the recording side of things. The drums don't sound as good as they could. Honestly, the couple projects that I did with this band, both when I was in it and after the fact, were some of the things that really pushed me to get a lot better at drum recording. And honestly, at this point, drums is probably one of the things I'm best at recording. But these drums definitely could have been better. Let's listen to how just the drums sound right now. Not horrible, but definitely could be better. First of all, the drums could have just been tuned better. Like, that's one thing for sure. I definitely needed to get the mic placement on the snare better. The snare doesn't sound great. I have things panned kind of weird. I have some of the toms panned like all the way to the side, which at this point I would never do. It also looks like I have this panned from audience perspective, which I don't do anymore. I pan the drums from drummer's perspective these days. Also, just in the way this mix is set up, like I have so many extra buses that I just don't use anymore. There's so much extra processing. I'm doing like quite a bit of processing on all of these individual tracks. I'm like compressing a lot of the individual drum tracks, which why the fuck would I use an LA2A on the toms? Clearly 6 years ago, I barely knew what the fuck I was doing, which is honestly, I kind of knew that, so that's why I'm surprised that overall it doesn't sound too terrible. But now you can see I have like no processing on the drum bus. At this point, I do most of my drum processing on the drum bus and maybe a little bit of EQ or a little bit of saturation on individual tracks. Oh my god, I'm doing like, I have so many plugins open on all of these tracks. This is crazy. So I'm curious. I'm just going to turn off like some of these big processing things on the kick and the snare and see what that does to the drum sound. Alright, so some of the processing I was doing clearly actually did improve things, just I'm sure I could do it better at this point, but clearly like the drum recording was just not there. It was a big problem at the time. There's also these drum pads during the verse. Right, I forgot that he didn't separate the piano and the clap. Oh man. So one thing I definitely would do differently now is I would record real claps and not use just this weak-ass clap sample. Like, we could still incorporate the clap sample, but on its own, it sounds weak, especially in the full mix. Yeah, those claps sound super weak on their own. Let's get into the guitar and bass tones. How's the bass sound? Okay, I have auto-tune on the bass. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure what that's about at this time. So when I was in the band, I was the bassist, but by this point I had left the band and they had a new bassist. I'm assuming the bass he was using was just not in great condition and it just would not hold a tune and was not intonated correctly. And at the time I was definitely a little too timid as an engineer to tell an artist straight up, your instrument sucks, fucking fix it. So yeah, I tuned the bass with auto-tune. Oh my god. All right, let's hear how the guitar sounds. All right, guitar sounds pretty decent. I don't know why I had this many fucking mics up. This is clearly a double track guitar. Knowing how I used to do things, this is probably an E906 and then 157 and then a second 57 in the Fredman configuration. But like overall, honestly, not a bad guitar sound. Clearly, I did a good job of not over processing things. I only did 2 EQ moves on the guitar and a little bit of compression, it looks like. Yeah, just tightening up the guitar a little bit. So I think I'm actually happy with the guitar processing there. Now, there was a bunch of lead stuff. There were a bunch of synth things. Probably a little thin to how I would like my guitar tones now, but things were being filled up a lot by the bass, even though it was fucking auto-tuned. We got a whole lot of synth stuff going on in the whole song. Whole lot of synth stuff. We really fleshed this out. In the bridge here, we got a bunch more stuff going on, synth-wise. Let's check out what we were doing with the vocals. Looks like we just have the lead vocal and a single vocal double, and then some harmony stuff layered in the background.
To the end, I've been walking across them plains. I've been searching for something that I can't explain. I've been locked out from all my shame. I don't know whether there's another way. Well, you stop me now. Never gonna stop me now.
So yeah, we did a lot with this track. We really fleshed this out. We like hyper produced this thing. Honestly, the worst parts that I'm hearing going through this is the drums. The drums definitely could have been recorded a lot better. And like I said, this project is something that really encouraged me to get a lot better at my drum recording. And at this point, drums is probably one of the things that I'm best at recording. So I just needed that learning experience, I guess. And then the bass, I clearly should have set the dude's bass up for him. Like, it obviously was not intonated well, so I had to pull out fucking auto-tune on the bass. Like, that's just embarrassing, honestly. But overall, like, most of the tones aren't that bad. The layering's pretty good. Like, it's a good arrangement. I think, really, if I went back in here and just remix this from the ground up, this could probably sound really, really cool.
Cross them plains, I've been searching for something that I can't explain. I've been locked out from all my shame. I don't know whether there's another way. through the door. Where you gonna leave it? Where you gonna leave it? Where you gonna leave my soul? I was walking down the line, champagne on your time. On your time, you can't get no more. No more.
Yeah, even that little bit of level adjustment with the vocals helped a little bit. Messing with the drum bus helped, but really I should attack the drums from scratch. Now, I do kind of want to remix this whole song from the ground up, especially because going back through it, I didn't realize that we had fleshed this song out as much as we did. I think it would be really fun to revisit mixing this whole thing from the ground up. So if that's something you guys want to see, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, I mean, I had fun with this. It was definitely interesting seeing how I used to set things up, how I used to approach things. Like, there's so many just stock plugins in this. It's crazy. Like, this was clearly well before I bought most of the plugins that I use at this point. But yeah, I thought this would be fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I just thought it would be a cool idea to jump back into an old session and see what the fuck was going on with it.